So this is our pitch. So we came up with 3 ideas, which is kind of 4, because our first 2 ideas we'd worked together on, and this was the ARG and the music video. And then our third idea would work independently, just as like a backup. So our first idea would be the ARG idea, which would have an accompanying short film to act as sort of like an abridged version of the narrative. This would be, so we could actually have something to screen. An ARG is a sort of like multimedia narrative, where basically the spectator is put in the position of like stumbling across the story, and it spans across different mediums, different formats, and it would be like across a few different like YouTube channels and stuff. So the story would follow the character of Ashley Cotton, a 19-year-old in the early 2000s, who has found some peculiar old tapes that lead her down a rabbit hole of discovery and like horror and stuff. In the ARG version, the spectator would like stumble across these videos, and that would be like how and in the short film version, it would be like a bit more of a conventional edit with like acting, and yeah, it would be the abridged version. And we'd call the project a Contium. It's quite an ambitious idea because obviously there's a lot of content that we'd have to do to complete it, and it's quite niche as well. So, which is why we're also doing the abridged version to run alongside it, so it's easier to screen. And the workload shouldn't be an issue because we can just split it evenly. And there's more of us, so more work, like it balances out. And these are inspirations. You can talk about this one.
So this is our second idea, which is a music video. Let's say like verbatim what's on there. Yeah, basically about the music video takes place. I can't speak again. Yeah. Basically about this guy who lost his spark in life, and the movie video goes through like him rediscovering memories as a child after you see the gist of it. Go for the next part. The song would be "This Is the Place." No, not "This Is the Place." It's what song was it again? I always forget the song. What song again? This Is the Place, isn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. The song is by Talking Head, which is the 80s new wave band, which basically birthed new wave as a genre. They were quite surrealist, alternate from the modern, not the modern, the back then modern quaintum.
Scene, yeah,
that's about it. Woo. Yeah, basically that's what I said a minute ago. Fantastic, really, because you put the same thing twice. The idea would push our editing skills to like a lot more use of not Premiere Pro, the other one. What's the one again?
After Effects.
After Effects, yeah. We're making use of After Effects a lot more using a mix of practical effects and visual effects to build a medium that it looks like it's a guy stumbling through memories instead of just a guy stumbling through a field.
So it'd be like quite experimental.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this inspiration. Wow. The idea is my personal idea, which is a romance drama set on a railway about 2 people who find out the railway's been shut down and have to save it through means that make them fight, and they make up at the end with. You can read it. Can't talk today. Just like I said a minute ago. What I would need would just be 2 characters for the whole thing. There'd be no other interaction from anywhere else, just to have the setting be quite small scale, like a small British village, basically. It is pretty realistic. The only problem we'd have with it is location, because it's on the railway and a station, which is, during this time of year, it's quite busy. The only days you probably get to film is probably Sundays and Wednesdays when they're not open. And also it's the uses of the station when it's still being actively worked on and used for other purposes. So it'd be quite, not hard to film, but hard to work around the areas that are being used and the areas that we could use ourselves. Inspirations like that, stuff like, it's not much to choose from, as most railway-centric things use it as a plot, not as a one plot point, and like the rest of it's just something else. Like some railway children, it has a one bit with the railway itself. So it's quite hard to find things to be inspired by.
So my third idea would be like a slasher, cyberpunk, splatterpunk blend, and it would be set in like a Y2K aesthetic, and it would use elements from both of the genres. It would feature elements that are like quite conventional to both of these genres, with like a lot of gore, a lot of technology and stuff. And splatterpunk is considered a pushback against horror films that only like suggest the gore and suggest the more violent aspects. So that stands as like a countercultural alignment to the horror film genre. It became popular in the 1980s as a pushback, obviously, as I just said. But the term splatterpunk was invented in 1986 during the 12th World Fantasy Convention by David J. Shaw, who said that he made up the term to describe hyper-intensive horror with like the no limits variety. Yeah, and it's a subgenre, and cyberpunk obviously is a subgenre of science fiction that blends high-tech ideas with the future, with the sleazy low-life aesthetics of punk. So the short film would be called Pathfinder, and it would follow this girl as she goes onto like the sort of like the Y2K internet grid to lure people to an abandoned factory, to murder them and rob them of their cybernetics. It would be quite gory. It would be quite like flashy and glossy at the same time. It's quite an ambitious idea, as it would require a lot of like props and gore, and it would need like a start on it like sooner rather than later. But it wouldn't be undoable, I don't think. And this here is all the inspirations. A lot of similar products, yeah. So we chose to go with idea 1, as we think it would be best suited for the sort of product we want to make. Obviously, we're working together as well. And we like the aesthetics, we like the techniques, and we're both interested in ARGs. So we think it would allow us to like push our technical skills a lot more while still making something that we both enjoy. So we've got the mood boards. This is the one for the ARG. You've got some spooky things. This is the one for the music video. Yeah. This is the train one. You got some trains. That was too fast.
Sorry, go back.
Yeah. You got the train one. And then you have the splatterpunk one. And next are the mind maps. So this is the mind map for the main one. It sort of outlines what we've already talked about with it. We've got the sort of the color scheme here, some of the logos that we've done. Locations, yeah. It goes over the stuff that we'll outline like later on anyway. This is the music video one. It talks more about the aesthetics, locations, that sort of thing, the narrative as well. Yeah. This is the railway one.
I forgot to mention the name of the thing, it's Station Pilots, because I'm stupid. That's what it's called.
Yeah, it'd be called Station Pilots.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
And this is my one. It's got the points of inspiration. It talks about the props, talks about the locations. It talks about the soundscape a lot more than I talked about in the actual thing. I'd want it to like be like quite synthy. I think would work well with like the aesthetics of it.
Well, it's 80 synth, yeah.
This is the Cargill for our main one. Yeah, you know.
It says words, yeah.
So we split the work like evenly down the middle as best we could. To sort of like to not only like loosen up how much work there is involved in this project, but also just to keep it fair, because we don't want one person doing more work than the other. And we've both agreed to this. So obviously, because we're working in a pair, we have to do 3 deconstructions each. And the ones we looked at are like either points of inspiration for us, or ones that are like similar products to the techniques and stuff we used. So Donovan's first deconstruction would be on the ARG Gemini Home Entertainment.
Should I talk about it? Or
Yeah, you can talk about it.
It's a like home VHS styled ARG that like, it starts out quite normal. Well, the first one's quite normal until the end, where it reveals that there is a sort of alien species taking over a town in Minnesota, I think it was. And it goes over that. The tapes that help you survive the disease, which is I think it's pretty cool.
So the second deconstruction that Donovan would look at would be the 39th episode of the series The Magnus Archives, which is an audio horror podcast. And this episode makes use of like some audio techniques where it's meant to be like you're listening to it in real time. which differs from how the other episodes are laid out, which is why it would be a good product to deconstruct, because it's more akin to the sort of thing that we would be more likely to use in the actual thing.
So this is Ash Logs, which is a pretty more like popular ARG, I would say. It uses more like real life, like live footage, not live footage, but like vlog footage, which we want to do for our thing. And I think the last one uses a lot of the techniques we want to use ourselves as well. So that's one I'm going to deconstruct. Not the whole thing, just one video from them, which I think is pretty good.
So I'd also have to do 3 deconstructions. So my first deconstruction would be on another episode of the Magnus Archives. And this is like a more conventional episode to what the series is like as a whole. Because each episode is like is like an anthology that the narrative is then built up around. Okay. So the episodes that we'd be deconstructing are like vastly different from one another. And I picked this one because I think like the content that it covers in it as well is quite similar, with the sort of like a lot of focus on like the computery sort of horror in this episode, particularly. The second one I would look at is the ARG Shay's Science Films, which we've shown you, Chris. It's still an ongoing project as of today. So it's like sort of similar to the one we intend to make, and as an ongoing project, we can sort of look to it as a reference point for ourselves to be like, okay, so we're moving at like a similar sort of track, and there's less content to look into for it, making it something better to deconstruct because there's not as much that we'd have to like trawl through. And the third deconstruction I would do would be on the film Skinamarink. This would be a good one to deconstruct because it's one of the sort of first really popular analog horror films in the mainstream. So this would be more what our conventional edit would look like, which is why it's a good thing to look at, because it takes a long time to like build tension. It uses some abstract shots. It's quite experimental, and it's like quite a slow burn.
Is there any way to watch that?
What do you mean?
Skinamarink.
Just now?
Well, no, not right now, but where if I wanted to watch that, where would I find
I
it?
think it's Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's on Amazon.
Yeah,
I just pirate it.
Yeah.
As a stream or as a downloadable?
Stream.
Yeah. Downloading is not very safe.
It's quite easy to find. It's very good though. It's very.
Yeah, stealing is wrong.
Well, the downloading part's actually the illegal part, not the streaming.
Carry on.
So for the personal research we'd do would just be to like consume more media in the genre. We'd watch more analog horror things. We'd watch more ARGs, because obviously that's good to do. And then also, because we're planning on including some like real world history in our thing, we'd have to like look back more into these specific events, because obviously we're going to talk about the 3 people that just vanished when Apollo 11 was launched. So we'd need to like find out more about that so we can ground our thing in like the real world. But this isn't like academic research we need to do because it's just more for the plot or for the aesthetics. Yeah.
Cool.
So we're going to look at 3 media theories. We'll do like each of these in our own separate essays. We're going to look at the end of audience, narratology, and fandom theory, because we think this would be like the best to apply. So end of audience is how, as a collective, people consume media and like are changing. Because we're doing online media, this is good to look at because once you put something out there, it's not yours anymore. Narratology is the differences between plot and story and describing them working in twine but not being the same, which works for our thing. And fandom theory is the theory about how fandom culture can like influence a piece of media, which is good to look at because we're making a piece of media that by definition that is the sort of thing that goes along with it.
You need fans to run.
Well, yeah, I mean they are just inside different kind of media products, right?
Yeah.
The fandom associated with that kind of thing is very, very different.
Yeah, it's quite like tied. Like fandom and ARGs are quite tied in together. We think the research is quite feasible. It's nothing like that we wouldn't be capable of doing because we can watch films, we can deconstruct things, we can look into the media theories, and we can write essays. So it's not going to be something that's like cripplingly difficult to do, but it's still enough to where we feel like we'd have enough information about the project. As for the resources we'd use like Google Scholar for peer-reviewed articles. We can use streaming services to watch the films. Just the internet, really, to watch the things and look into the things. And we can look at media texts for the media theories. So for the test shoots we are going to do, 3 test shoots plus the 2 class ones. And these are a door test shoot, a VHS test shoot, and a sort of distortion test shoot. So the first one we would do, which we've already done, is this sort of one where the camera pivots as the door opens, the camera pivots, and we can like zoom in, play the video.
Oh.
No, just it's on the PowerPoint.
Yeah. Jeez, that's loud. It's loud.
So that would be the sort of thing we want to do. But when we do it, we wouldn't have the doors overlap because I don't like how that looks, particularly.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen the one we've done.
All
The second idea, or the second test shoot we would do, is we want to see how we can better do like a VHS like analog overlay. Because obviously we're not going to use a VHS camcorder because that then has the issues of like actually like transcribing the VHS to digital. So we'd likely use like a digital camera and then fiddle around with it in After Effects to sort of create how we want to look. We've also done this test shoot actually, and we used just a SIM card 2000s camcorder, which like it looked pretty good. And you can like add overlays and stuff afterwards to like add to the effect, because obviously it's quite crunchy. It's not like the cleanest footage, but that works in our favor. So the third test shoot we want to do, which we haven't done yet.
That's a deeply unsettling image.
It gets more unsettling. So do you know what data moshing is?
I do.
So we'd want to do that on like our like spooky antagonist creature of the film, because we want to try and make it so that the identity is shrouded, and it adds to the little mystery a bit more, because it's like hard to tell what it is. So we'd want to try something like this, of having like the entity like mosh a bit when it's on camera. Yeah. Mosh is a verb.
Sorry, did it again.
Making it a verb. So the first location we would have to use would be Mount Kelly, because my mum works there, and this is somewhere we can have access to, and it works well for our aesthetic because it's a boarding school turned medical hospital turned back to boarding school, which works really well for us. It's got like a big spooky basement and stuff, just full of trinkets and doodads. We wouldn't have to worry about the public there. You're going too fast.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to click it.
Yeah, it's fine. We wouldn't have to worry about the public there. Obviously, we'd have to be mindful if we were shooting on like a school day, not to involve any like the.
Your mum's okay with you going
Yes,
shooting?
yeah. No, that's all fine.
Did it for your.
Yeah, I did it for the music video last year as well. So that would be fine. But obviously, you know, it's not our site, so we'd have to be mindful. The second location we'd use would be the car boot sale that's weekly in Bodmin, because we need a way for the characters to like actually get their hands on these tapes, and we figured that's quite a good way to do it. And this would involve just sort of like vlogging the car boot sale, because obviously it's like with the ARG, it's like a slow start. It's got to have some like relatively normal videos, because it would be weird if we were just like spooky thing straight away. So we'd like film that. And obviously there would need to be mindful of the public, because we would be filming a public event. And as well, we'd probably need to have like a fake store for the tapes to be found on, because we're not just going to go up to a random person and be like, yo, can we hide this thing in your store, film it, and then take it away again? Because that would just be kind of weird. So we'd need a fake stall as well. And obviously, if we can't film there, we could, in theory, set up a whole fake thing. That's quite a lot of work. Or we could just change it to like a charity shop or something. So the third location we'd use would be the studio down the corridor. And we'd use this more for like the abstract shots we want to do. Because we want to get some abstract stuff. And obviously the studio allows us to do that with like the green screen and the black backdrops and stuff. It's a closed site, we don't need to worry about the public, but we would need to obviously be mindful of like the bookings and other people that want to book. So that's really no problem. We have a few people that have already agreed to perform. This includes Edith, who I used on my FMP last year. And also a couple of friends of mine and Donovan have agreed to do it. All of them are like pretty reliable, so we don't need to worry about them like not showing up or whatever. And but obviously as well, like we'd be happy to step in front of the camera, which is like semi-likely depending on how it goes, and vice versa, because you can skip to the next slide. Because while we would be like the main crew, obviously as well, there's like the way that an ARG is structured, it's highly likely that the actors will have to like hold the camera at some point when they're like vlogging themselves or whatever. So the lines are a little bit more blurred, but for the most part, we'd be doing the filming and the audio work. But yeah. There's a specific shot we want to include from the 2014 found footage film called Creep. It's very good, I would recommend it. In this shot, spoilers for the end, by the way, a character's murdered, and then it like fluidly transitions into like someone watching it on a screen. The clip's on the next slide if you wanna. We'll just play. We'll just. You have to click the play button.
Oh, it do it itself.
So that's the sort of shot we want to do, where it like pulls out, because that's quite fluid and it's quite. It would work well with what we want to do. So the cinematography kit. We already have a lot of the skills that we need, like editing, filming, and that sort of thing. Obviously, there are areas that we could like improve. Like we don't have to do the data moshing thing, so we'd have to learn how to do that. But it's nothing like we wouldn't have to learn any new softwares or anything.
Like audio, what is it called? Yeah, audio enhance thing, maybe. Not audio enhance. Audition. Yeah.
I did some audition last year, so it's not like we already know how to use the software at a base level, but we'd be strengthening these skills as we go along, because it makes use of a lot of different multimedia aspects, like audio, like film, and there's always room to improve. And while we might not know how to do specific things like the data moshing or certain bits, we'd still know how to use the software, and we would be able to find out a way to achieve what we wanted to achieve through tutorials, asking you and stuff. So the equipment is a little bit funky as well, because obviously we'd need some retro equipment like the camcorder, which I have at home. But then for the more conventional edit, we'd want some like nice lenses, a Canon, some proper audio equipment, because with that one we'd have some more like conventional shots that look nice, not all crunchy and internety. So we'd have, just to keep it like a little bit different from the other one, because we don't want it to just be the same project edited differently. So it would be a little bit different. So for editing, Premiere Pro, Adobe Audition, After Effects, maybe Adobe Animate. We already know how to use these, like...
Basic.
Pretty much, yeah. We've used them in the past, that's fine. Obviously we can edit in college, so we have all the access to the software we need here, but also I own the Adobe Suite at home, so if we have to like edit at home, I can do that, which is no problem. So like time constraints aren't just restricted to college hours. Yeah. So because of the way an ARG is structured, it's as much content just straight away. We've already posted one video, which is just like a little 7-second intro thing to the AARD channel. So we've made a roadmap and a schedule to just cover all of it, because it's quite a lot of content, quite spread out from each other, and we want to keep track of all of that. Go back, I'm not done.
Sorry.
You silly. Obviously, there's like the potential for actors not to be available or whatever. So we can just plan around that, because the way it's structured, we have a little bit of breathing room with when we can shoot things. So if we need to like shoot something like a day later, we can do that, no problem. That won't affect it too much. Go to the next slide now. So this is our shoot plan, schedule. You've got the stuff on there that we haven't done yet, all highlighted. And we can add to it as we go along, we can change it. To make sure it's actually reflective. This is our roadmap, which is more just outlining what content we want to release when. We've done, go back.
Oh, what are you doing?
Silly. Okay. We've done this one. We've done this one. We've made the accounts. And we'll have like hidden videos and stuff. So we've done the first 2 steps on this roadmap. And when we work it down like this, it's not that much to do. It flows quite well into itself, and you can keep the momentum going.
That's the wrong way.
That's the wrong way. We think it's quite a feasible idea to do, while being quite ambitious. Obviously, both of us are aiming for a distinction, and we do think that doing both the conventional short film and the ARG would get us this grade, or at least we hope. Yeah. We can push ourselves more, we can experiment, while still staying in the realm of our feasible skills that we already have and we've spent the entire past 2 years building up. So it's ambitious, just not unrealistically so. Obviously, to just summarize the idea, it's to create an ARG following a character as they unravel mysteries about this spooky government agency that is on the internet. And then there'll be the conventional cut and the ARG version. So we have one thing to screen, one thing as like the product. And we think if we put in the time and the work, it's not too unrealistic. Obviously, we spent most of our time on previous college projects, like honing these skills, because we make use of everything, audio, visual, and that sort of stuff. So we make use of like quite a lot of different bits that we've like spent the entire college year picking up on. Obviously, we can improve it more as we go along, and that is the goal. But it's nothing we haven't done prior. That's everything.
Very, very nice. Well, very good. I've written down specifically there, one of the notes, all your ideas are good. Like, you could have chosen basically anything. I said to you, when I've spoken to you on one-on-ones before, I still like the idea of the splatter punk thing, which I hope desperately you make one day.
I probably will, yeah.
But no, the ARG is good. It's an interesting product because obviously I've never seen one done before. So this is a bit of a learning curve for all of us. So what you may find, and I'm telling you this up front on for the record here, if I don't think there's enough meat to it, or if I feel like we're going to need to shift the goalpost ever so slightly so that we can try and maximise the chance of you getting the grade, please be aware that if I'm like, oh, you know that thing I told you to do last week, that was going to be enough, actually turns out that's not enough, please brace yourself for that, because we're very much feeling our way through it.
That's fine. That's why we have the like more conventional version as well. So you can still have like quite a lot of input, being like, you need to do this to get the grade you want, because obviously we want to get the grade first and foremost, and then also make something that we're proud of as like a secondary goal.
Well, I like the idea that this thing is going to exist, like when you run like this ARG as an example. If anybody else should ever ask about it, I can point to it. I can give it as an example next year for FMP, that kind of thing. So no, it sounds good. What else have I got here? I would have liked, the presentation was really good. The design very, very good. Presentation, all that kind of stuff. What you guys did is great. I would have liked a little bit more in terms of why you opted for the ARG, what were the others over the others, which you kind of touched on but didn't dive.
Okay.
That's fine.
Do you want to touch on it now? Okay.
I know I've spoken to you about it. Just for the purposes of the record, it's useful for us to have.
Do you want us to just put it on record?
Go on then, briefly tell us.
We chose the ARG because we're both interested in it, and we think
we're both really good at it.
We know a lot about it. We think we can like have fun with it while experimenting and making something that would be good. And the way it's laid out is just really interesting, to where it puts you in effectively like an active role in the story, which that's just really cool.
Yeah, no, it is. Yes, like I say, I've told you before, this predates you. It reminds me very much of the Cloverfield marketing campaign, which was a very interesting campaign.
Well, I mean, The Dark Knight was the first one, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
because ARGs did actually start as an advertising thing, which then people latched onto to turn into like a narrative and horror thing. And the first one was the Batman ARG for what? I don't know.
Does that predate Cloverfield?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Like 2015?
No, 15, so 13.
2013?
Yeah, it was a year before it released, so it was, yeah. But that one is really hard to find. It's all like gone basically. It's all like
Lost media.
Essentially, yeah.
Question to ask, so you didn't cover. What makes some ARGs really, really good, and what makes some just get lost?
Some get lost in trying to make it like overly complicated. So some will like try to make it like seasoned based, which you can't really. Yeah, it's weird. Like, they're trying to like have like separate stories in the same canon as one story. They'll end the ARG and then make like another character take over the mantle, and it gets all like cross-matched and weird. And
yeah, so
the ARG needs to be like simple. It needs to be like easy to understand and easy to like grapple, so that when someone, if it's over done with.
Not to say it's not going to be complex though.
Yeah,
but like simple but not complex.
Yeah. Like not so. If someone would like, say it's finished like 5 years later, someone comes across it. It needs to be simple enough so that the person who's new can like get a hold of it and like understand what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna restart this for you. Make sure.
Yeah, that's right.
And also, like, what makes an ARG good is quite subjective, because obviously some people might like that more complicated stuff, some people might not. But we're going to keep it like smaller scale, because it's A, feasible, and B, we prefer that kind of ARG.
And in terms of outlining target audience, I couldn't see a primary target audience on the left.
Oh, was I stood in the way?
That's fine. So tell me what you think. What is the general audience for?
Do you want to cover that one, Donovan?
Bring it back.
Down.
to our planet. Oh, where the thing was? Ah, it's there.
It's okay. I know I saw 17 to 25, not specific in relation to religion. I'm assuming it's also not specific in terms of.
No, you there.
No.
No.
Down
again.
Down.
Okay, thank you. All right, cool. So it's very much a young person thing, which is absolutely fine. That's right. That's what I wanted
It
to
will
check.
contain like anti-religious themes as well.
Personal religion.
Okay, absolutely fine. All the test shoots look good. It would be nice. What I quite want to see is what the aesthetic is going to be like and how you're going to reconcile this, your old-fashioned camera stuff with more conventional type content.
Yeah, I did.
Show it now.
I can pull up the test shoot that we
Good,
did.
let me see.
It's not particularly
files.
interesting. I just filmed my cat, and then also my face, and then also my garden.
You too.
So it's not very interesting.
What did we test shoot?
Just like skim through it because it's like 6 minutes long.
Yeah, which one? Which one's the correct one? Okay.
So like just skim through it.
Yeah.
You have, and we did different effects, different different bit rates, and then this is the one at the end, the overlay and the cropping to make it look older. I liked the crop of that specific overlay. Donovan did not. There are other overlays we can use.
Just looks a bit.
The 4x3 crop and like the discoloration that comes with that overlay, the scan lines that move from top to bottom don't look very good, but the discoloration seems to be going with it. Does look good. If that makes
I really like the discoloration. Yeah. The
It's
line
just
looks too fake.
It's saturated. Yeah.
the line doesn't look real at all. The discoloration does look
Yeah,
good.
and then obviously we have like the different bit rates and stuff on all these clips again. So it's just like 3 clips that loop.
Yeah.
In different qualities, you have the HD one,
I
the
would say
720 and
saturate it
480.
more.
I couldn't take it below 480 in Premiere. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, that's fine. For 480 is fine, and we can find the resolution
Yeah.
so you can make that. That's not a problem. So tell me, when's your next thing? What else are you shooting?
Just as soon as possible.
Yeah, like, after probably, like,
it'll
probably
be
Wednesday,
probably
actually.
within the next couple weeks.
Well, like Wednesday to film and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so like for the channel. We are.
Because the way it works, we can sort of make whatever bit we want. We don't need to make it in like sequential order. Obviously, we need to release it in the sequential order, but we don't need to make it in that order. So we could, in theory, just stock up on stuff and then release it as we go along. The AID one has already had stuff on it. So do you want to pull up the video actually?
Are you going to be? You mentioned before, like, are you going to be creating characters that comment on these videos as well? Is that-
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should be at least.
Because the way it will work is it will be like an interconnected web, like that all like attaches to itself, and you know, oh, you're watching this video, but this thing's mentioned. You can go and find that thing, and then that thing connects back to the first thing, and it all works in tandom.
Is that it?
No, that's the one without the fun stuff.
Where's that one there? Title 2.0?
Yeah.
Nope, that's that one there. Why is it mute? That's fine.
Donovan did like a little jingle for it, but
It's not
I
playing.
can't find it in my files.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah, that's annoying. That's fine. Full intro?
Oh yes.
That's good. Yeah. I
Also,
like
with like the sort of not distortion, the noise on it. Turns out if you just send it through Teams like 3 times, it crunches it so well in a way that we could never. That's good to know. It like really crunches it.
Cool. I think that's it. You guys are very, very nice. I'm very happy with the idea. You guys seem super keen on it, which is really, really good. Do you need our studio for any of the shoots?
Yes.
Like Riley's shoot, that'd be it.
Yeah. So.
One of the videos for the AD accounts, I like a government sales video that improves one character who is like the one person who's like the guy behind, not the guy behind it, like the face of the ARD company.
And we also might need to haul in a door.
Yeah.
To the Calliope thing. Studio.
is fine.
To put a green screen behind so we can like have that.
Have you messaged David to get him to ask Premises about this door?
I think we'll track one down like independently because we need one
because
in a frame.
Facebook Marketplace those doors. Very cheap doors.
I've been told that doors are
Very cheap.
very cheap apparently.
There's a door in a jug of steel.
All the doors in the college.
Don't steal it.
There's a house that like.
We will purchase the door legally.
Fine, okay.
Good. Keep doing stuff. Keep showing me stuff. Don't do that thing that you guys sometimes do where you don't show me stuff early enough. To be fair, you've actually been really good at showing me stuff this year, so I've been really, really happy with that.
Yeah, we'll keep showing you. Because I mean, that's why we have the conventional edit for you to like fiddle around with in whatever way you think would affect our grade the best.
Cut.
Well.
Lovely.
Bye bye.